Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Great to be with you as always. Redemption Thursday, Spring Training Thursday. We are off and running. By the way, not live today. Sorry about that. I'm off to Vegas, man. I can't be live. I got gambling to do. I've got some boozing to do on a trip to Las Vegas. So we had to get started early today and get the show in the can to give you new content. Just saw in the chat, Ric Flair, well done. I should say the Heisen Leco Law Firm chat, by the way, guys, is what I should say. But you guys can talk amongst yourselves. Get after it, as always. But, yeah, we can't really respond to any of that. Hey, by the way, Tom, I know you're in New York and it's a little chilly. It's been picture perfect in Tallahassee. And people ask me this all the time because they know that I'm a big music guy and they know I like to read. And I'll get people say, what are you reading? What films are you watching? Documentaries, things like that. What podcasts you listen to? What music are you listening to? That kind of stuff. I'm reading a book here. I'm going to be like Oprah, Tom. I'm going to start being like Oprah. I'll give you the book club thing and let's see if I can help Gary Smith out. I'm reading this book, Beyond the Game, the collective sports writing of Gary Smith, who I think is the best sports writer of all time. I do. I believe Gary Smith is the best sports writer of all time.
We've never come out of the gates with a book recommendation. This is fascinating. Well, literally showing the book. This feels very late night Johnny Carson-ish.
Yeah, there you go. This is the book right here. My guest is Gary Smith. Joins us now. No, so I wish I could do that. I don't even know. I haven't checked. I don't know if Gary is alive or not. I think he is. I think Gary Smith is still alive. He should be somewhere doing great sports writing. He was with Sports Illustrated forever in a day. Anyhow, I started reading this because of the news that Sports Illustrated was about to be defunct. And I was saddened by that. And I was reminded, some people, look at, they have their favorites. Gary was always mine. And then I was like, I wonder if there's a collective, a collection of all of his best articles or something like that. And found out there were several books, including this one, buddy. So I ordered it and I got it and I'm reading it now and it's effing fantastic. So for those of you who ask me all the time what I'm reading or what I'm looking at, the collected sports writing of Gary Smith is what I'm reading, along with Joe Pisnansky, Why We Love Baseball.
Okay, here's a great photo of Gary Smith, just for your enjoyment. There he is. Look at
that. Good God, Gary.
For those of you that are on the radio, how would you describe that?
70s cheese, 70s porn. I would tell you that he's a little
Sorry
bit.
I asked.
Yeah. But he is an unreal writer who clearly does not care about his appearance. Yeah, there's a little John Holmes to that. It's not good. It's not good. You post that picture and you automatically hear bow waka waka, bow waka, bow waka waka, bow waka. And you're just like, what is going on here? But he can write better than most. So it's worth your time. Anyhow, I was thinking about these things. By the way, one of the articles that's in that book, and I bring this up because today, this is pertinent to today, spring training starts. And I was wondering this. I wonder if you remember this. Do you remember when Steve Olin and Tim Cruz were killed when they were with the Cleveland Indians? Do you remember this, Tom?
No, I don't remember that at all.
It happened in 1993. I figured you wouldn't remember. It happened in 1993, right around now. It was spring training. And they were killed in Florida, Lake Nelly, and I believe is the lake. And it was tragic. It was a boating accident. And you do remember Ojeda, right? The pitcher,
Bobby Ojeda. Sure. Yeah.
He was in the accident. He almost died. He's the lone survivor of the boating accident that killed them, Tim Cruz and Steve Olin. And I'll never forget it. It was just a lazy spring training day. And apparently they had gone out on the lake and it was getting dark and they had to come back towards the dock, but they misjudged. They couldn't see the dock and they were going and boom. Right into the dock. And Bobby Ojeda was almost quite literally scalped. His head peeled back It was he had to have multiple surgeries, and yeah, dude, the dock was up here about head level. They didn't see it. They were racing back towards the shore, and they almost all got decapitated. And
okay.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. Well, but that was so. What I couldn't believe, first of all, there's an article about that in here, that Gary wrote. That's unreal, about how it affected Cleveland at that time, and just everything about it was insane. And the fight to kind of Bobby Ojeda's fight to come back to baseball after that, because at the urging of one of the widows who said, you have to come back. They would have wanted you to come back. They would have wanted you to make it. And he was suicidal. It's an incredible story. But that was and a lot of you listening might remember this. It was 30 years ago that it happened. And this is what happens to me now. I'm forever reminded of sporting events or anniversaries of events. Oh, most of them are Florida State related. You know, when Mike Martin passed away, I went down memory lane then too, as a lot of us did, and went and looked back at certain games that are etched in my memory. And I wanted to kind of freshen my memory of what year was that? What was the lineup? Who pitched that game? That kind of thing. And so NoleFan.org, I don't know who runs that, but they do an amazing job, or they did an amazing job. There are so many box scores in there, handwritten, so many. I mean, you can find every roster, every game, every score, the weather, the umpires, every aspect of it. And to do that, to delve into that, and this is the time of year where we kind of do that. We're trying to get by. We're trying to get to football again in August and July. And so you do this thing where you survive on baseball and basketball, which is fine. I love it. I'm a huge baseball fan. But, we miss the meat and potatoes that is football. And I just go down these rabbit holes where I'm looking into the box scores. And I can remember, and I was thinking about what brings us together as sports fans. You can remember who you were with. You can remember where you were sitting. You can remember what you thought. And in some cases, while reading about that, in this book that I just talked about, I can remember where I was in Tallahassee. So, Tom, you're so young. In 1993, I'm in school. I'm in Tallahassee. I'm driving around in my Nissan Pulsar, by the way, my black Nissan Pulsar. It was a stick shift. It was that my girlfriend Jen Peterson ended up destroying the timing chain, because I told her if she heard a certain sound not to shift gears, but she did shift gears and broke the timing chain, and it cost me a ton of money because that ended up destroying the engine. Anyhow, long story short, I can remember all these things of exactly what was happening and what I was doing and where I was, and driving down Pensacola Street when you could still drive down Pensacola Street and go and do all those things. It's a fun thing to do, and you can kind of get into the details of what brings us together as sports fans. Nothing makes you feel the way sports does. I would argue that music is the closest that bonds people. That music takes you to a place in time, but sports is the one for me. At least it was always growing up and still is today. It's the only one that kind of carries over.
Yeah, so sports, I think, takes you to a moment, and music can take you to a period of life. Unless you're speaking about a live show, that's a different thing that is very much like sports. In fact, it is the same. Because
the moment,
it is a night. You remember it was a Thursday and you were with so-and-so. But a song could be a summer of your youth.
100% correct. That's a great description. In fact, a lot of songs are a summer or a winter or a fall or a spring of your youth, without question.
Yeah, I could tell you, the songs of freedom for me when I was, that sounds like way more grandiose, but like when I went to college, and I was on my own, like I could tell you those songs that really embody that first feeling of, oh my God, I'm on my own. Can you believe this?
100%. Yeah.
The possibilities, all that kind of stuff. But sports itself, like I said, my favorite memories, the most meaningful memories to me of sports are the 2004 Stanley Cup run games for the Lightning. So you're going through the playoffs. The playoffs are 2 months. It's a long time.
A long effing time.
And in the course of those two series, my dad lost both of his parents. And we were back and forth up here to Brooklyn over the course of time. They died 30 days apart. my dad's going through it, man. Like they were older, but it's just, you're never ready. And 30 days apart, my grandmother, who was she survived my grandfather for 30 days, was supposed to come live with us. And she was so excited, and it took a turn for the worse. And so it's just this devastating time. But what we were able to do was really, really dive into this playoff run that our favorite team that was such ass since the start of their, I mean, like, really, they weren't, you had one playoff run in 96 and went 6 games. You lost to the number 1 seed Flyers. They were all right the year before, but it's like almost overnight. They go from meaningless to the best. And
the Lightning, in a weird way, mirror the Bucks, by the way, if you've ever noticed that. Like long periods of just terrible, terrible play, followed by we're the best there is.
When they get it right, they get it really, really right. The Marlins are like that too in baseball. But it was just, that's the thing. Whenever I see those games, I recall the good emotions and the sad emotions. But these are the most powerful moments in my sporting life, because it worked. Like, sports did that for us. It truly was an escape, and it truly was a catharsis. And I'm grateful to sports forever for that particular moment. But I mean, that's the most vivid example. There's like any other number of examples in my life where I've been in moments where sports has just been this transcendent thing. And thankfully, the Noles have provided a lot of those for us. Like, even what's going on now, hoops is declining, but the good moments for Florida State basketball under Ham, dude, I've got like 20 in my brain that I'll never, ever forget. They'll stay with me until I'm not on the earth anymore.
Corey brought up on Tuesday during headlines that the game against Louisville, the specific game against Louisville, which has the Pat Williams dunk and the Trent Forrest dunk. That's right. Those 2 dunks and that game, that atmosphere, we were together for that game. That was an insane moment in time for Florida State basketball. And he argues it was the best moment in time for Florida State basketball, which I think is interesting because, and I'll give him credit for that, I think he's right. There are more significant victories, more significant in terms of elevating your program in the historical way that you think of beating Duke at Duke, or the way that you think of coming back and winning a game in the NCAA tournament, March Madness, to get to the Sweet 16. Those kinds of moments that blow you. When we were at Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, even in a loss with Derwin Kitchen on the baseline, those were significant moments. But he might be right. That game encapsulates the pinnacle of Florida State basketball under Ham. They were at their apex. Yeah. This team was great, and we knew it. They had an opportunity, we thought, certainly, to maybe win the national championship. And as basketball is now winding down, as we know, let's just be honest, I think we're getting more and more frank on a daily basis about what's happening at the end of Leonard Hamilton's time. And we know the time's up. It's just a matter of when. It's never coming back. It's just not. Let's be honest about this with ourselves. And I don't know if Ham can be honest with himself about this. I hope he can, but it's always hardest for those that are in it. And I know that it can be a terribly difficult thing. Think about your own life, about how you have to be honest with yourself about the things you can no longer do, or something that's passed you by, whatever it might be, or the time that you let slip away, whatever it might be. It's hard to come to grips with those things, but you have to in order to move forward. And Florida State basketball is at that place. But what it's done is allowed me to sit back and think about that run. And it's Ham 2.0. And you and I have talked about that a lot. The Ham 2.0, we used to be over at the old house at the ESPN radio, and we were documenting his demise. I broke the story of Ham's contract extension, that he was going to be back. I got a phone call from a major booster. Yeah. And the 1 year, right? They were giving him 1 more year. I remember I broke that on the air. I had that first. I'm not saying that to brag, but I remember it vividly because I had that call right after they had agreed to bring him back. And they basically brought him back because of Jonathan Isaac. That is the only real reason they brought him back.
Yeah. And President Thrasher's quotes at the time were they were frank in the release. Like, usually a release is flowery. That release was, "We trust that Leonard can get this right." That's basically what he said.
Yeah. You got 1 year, pal. You got 1 year to show us that you can be something. Well, then they made the tournament, and then from there we saw not only did Florida State basketball turn it around and make the tournament and go on a run and all those things, they changed the way they played. And I remember you were very critical of that, and that's fair. We argued about it. I was in favor of Ham reinventing himself, and I think you rightfully, if we're going to argue this, I mean not argue this, if we're going to talk about this, relitigate this, you rightfully suspected he couldn't get it done because who changes their stripes at that age? But he did. Right. He did. He successfully did it.
My thought was, look, man, it was ugly before, but it worked.
We won. Yeah.
Like, so why are you trying to get all skillful here? There are programs that can do it better than us.
Right.
So it seems like you're trying to wade into these waters that the North Carolinas, the Dukes, and all these other schools are well versed in. They can recruit better. But he did it. He did it, man. And it was something to see. Like even the other Louisville game with Patino in town, where they started on some kind of crazy
16 to nothing. 16 to nothing. Yeah.
And then we mass substitute for no reason at all.
You and I were livid about that. Yeah.
But like those are moments. Like, I'll tell you, looking back on it, and I really enjoyed the executive suite that we had, and it was a great time. But I enjoy the games in the club better.
More. Yeah, me too.
Because it was more communal. Like, we
would always hang out with Bill from Corner Pocket.
Well, there you go. I was about to say our mutual friend, Bill, Corner Pocket, Bill Hayes. Like, you remember, like, the high top seats, you had room to move around if you wanted to. If you wanted to slap somebody five, you could run over to them and do so. Yeah. Like, it was, and you were in the arena. Like, the executive box is in the arena, but the club has the high, I mean, it's the open ceilings. Like, I remember all of those games from that corner section. I should be doing ads for them, including the RJ Barrett 3 where we lost. Like, it's just,
you and I knew in real time when we saw the play that was, by the way, it's a masterful draw up by Coach K. It was.
Awesome, we had to defend the 2. I mean, that was the problem.
And he knew it. And the way they screened it, and he comes around, and then boom, he's wide open. First of all, I should go back and look. I don't know who the inbounder was. But the point would be it's one of the best inbounds throws I've ever seen. It's not that you can identify an open player. Anybody can do that. It's that he hit him in the exact spot where he could catch in rhythm and rise up and release and not have to think. Yeah. There's no readjusting of the basketball. It's not up here above your head. It's not to your left. Your best passers in basketball have always put the ball on the shooting hand so that it is a catch and raise and release. It's not an adjust. It's not a catch, adjust, raise, and release, which throws off your timing. It's as good a pass in as you'll see. And then as soon as he released it, you and I both knew it was in.
You could draw a line if don't go look it up. You don't want to live that one. Look up Loucks the snare instead. Yeah. But you could draw a line through the basket, and that's where we were because you could see it through the window as it went in. That's the club section that we're in, and I'll never forget that image, sadly. But that was actually the missed free throw, not coming away with the board was the killer.
That was the killer.
You come away with the rebound and you're fine. But all of those games, I mean, there are more than 10 where the building was like that. And I think the reason that Corey's right about the Louisville win, the one with Patrick Williams and Trent Forrest, is because if you recall, Jay Billis was converted. And it's not that it matters that it's Jay Billis, the person, but what he represents as a national talking head.
Correct. Yeah.
He's on the 11 o'clock Van Pelt Sports Center. He's going, you wouldn't believe what this place was like tonight. He was converted. He saw the change.
Yeah, he talked about how difficult a place it is to play and that it might be one of the 3 or 4 most difficult places to play.
Yes.
You are 100% correct. The problem is because this program has never been an elite, sustained, omnipresent force in basketball, we will always remember the pockets of time in which it was, right? So we got that from Ham not once but twice.
Yeah.
It's a very long tenure. Some would argue that, they could have moved on years ago. That's fine. I'll entertain the argument. I've always combated that argument or countered that argument, I should say, with, look, do you understand who we are? People don't like to hear that because they don't like to diminish or besmirch the program. But let's just be honest. Florida State's never flooded this program with money. They've never cared all that much whether basketball was great or not. It wasn't a priority. It's just never been a priority here. So when something's not a priority, You recognize it. That's true in your own life. So, the fact that it happened twice during his run is really quite remarkable. It happened very briefly for Pat Kennedy. I was here. You were not, for the Pat Kennedy era. That was one of my favorite teams. There was a 4-year window. The Bob Sura, the Doug Edwards, the Rodney Dobards, the Charlie Ward, the Brad Johnson. Those were fun. Those were incredible teams.
That's the thing that I'm really glad that we got to see, and it can happen again if we get to another conference. That's the huge thing here, is that runoff money. I know you got to pay some debts off, but I mean, it's going to give you the affordability for a lot of other programs to say, all right, football's taken care of. Now what? Like, I can't wait for that question. Like, we're not there yet, but football's taken care of. Now what do we need to do?
Tom, I would argue we're pretty close. You just had a 13-0 season on the heels of a 10-win season. You just won the conference again. In any normal year, you would have been in the college football playoff if they weren't trying to give Nick Saban a goodbye present and, making money decisions as opposed to those based on merit. In any other year, you would have just made the college football playoff. It's not about whether you win a national championship. It's about, are you in a position consistently to win a national championship?
Yeah.
And I think Florida State is on the cusp of that. In fact, let's take a break and talk about this for a second, because it segues nicely. I don't know if you saw this. Nick Saban's doing exactly what we thought he would do. And frankly, what I think he needs to do, and I'm here for it. I'll tell you what it is in a moment. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Attention Florida, are you a victim of an auto accident? We introduce our live chat sponsor, Hyson Leaka Law Firm, dedicated to representing injured clients statewide. If you've been in an accident, call Hyson Leaka Law Firm at 813-803-0733 for a free consultation. Remember, there's no cost to you unless they win. Your interests come first with Hyson Leaka Law Firm, the name you can trust for justice. Call 813-803-0733 now or visit HysonLeakaLawFirm.com. Hyson Leaka Law Firm, your advocate in times of need.
Its members get many benefits, including priority service. Members jump to the front of the line when their comfort system fails, and a 15% discount on all parts. The Peak Performance membership pays for itself over and over again. Call today and have peace of mind. And Parker's is now offering electrical services too.
Parker's Services, comfort system all the way.
Florida license number CMC 050334.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
Power Mill Training Academy equips motivated athletes focused on baseball and softball with the specific tools to reach their true potential. Now, you'll read that if you go to their website, but I'm here to tell you that, look, whether it's your daughter wanting to play softball, your son wants to play baseball, or maybe they just want to have fun and get the most out of their abilities, and that's where Power Mill comes into play. They've got coaches and camps that teach for every level of play for your son or your daughter. To learn more, go to PowerMillSports.com.
For 3 days only, February 23rd through the 25th, area boat and motor buyers will save thousands at Mike's Marine and Houseboat Show in beautiful Penicillin. This is the event you don't want to miss. Every Yamaha motor from 2.5 to massive 425 horsepower has special extra low pricing. Yamaha, more in 24. Check out the region's largest selection of the best boats, including Skeeter, Sea Hunt, Robalo, Tidewater, and G3, inshore, offshore, river, or lake. Mike's Marine has a boat for you, and you will buy Buy for less. Some boat packages discounted over $10,000. Save on all accessories, including electronics and trolling motors too. They've even dropped prices on all pre-owned inventory. Lenders will be on site providing instant credit approvals and easy financing options. Door prizes too. And while you're there, drop in on one of Hennessy's phenomenal seafood restaurants. Hours of the show are Friday and Saturday from 8 to 6 and Sunday from 10 to 4. The Mike Marine In-House Boat Show, February 23rd through the 25th. Don't miss it.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest.
I mentioned Nick Saban and what I think is going to happen here, and I'm enjoying the conversation, the larger conversation about where Florida State's at and what we need to do and how close we are to kind of just assuming some things about the program. You want to get to a place, I'll get to the Saban thing in a second. You want to get to a place where you're not thinking about whether or not you're good. You're thinking about, are you the best? You want to be at a place where Georgia's at, where Georgia fans annually now go into every season asking the question, are we the best team in the country? Will we win the national championship? They're not asking about whether they can win the SEC. They're not asking whether or not they're good. They're not asking whether or not they're going to win 10 games. They're asking, are we the best team in college football? In essence, they're asking, are we better than Alabama? Are we better than Ohio State? Are we better than one or two more teams in a given year? This year it would have been Michigan. You would ask yourself that question. Maybe some years it'll be, who knows, Oregon or something like that. But that's it. Like, that's all you're asking yourself. To your point, we're not there yet. Florida State's not at a place where we walk out to cover the team in the spring asking the question, is this team the best team in the country? Instead, right now where we are is we're asking the question, is this team the best team in the ACC? You'd like to get beyond that. You'd like to get to a place where you just assume as much. Because for the better part of 20 years, you did assume that. You're like, oh, well, the ACC, I'm not worried about the ACC. We're going to win the ACC. I mean, who gives a damn about the ACC? There's like one halfway other decent team that we have to worry about because we're on the road this year. Like some years it was North Carolina. Very late in the run for Florida State's dynasty, it was Clemson a couple of times. There really hasn't been another threat. I mean, Wake Forest had a nice run when we were dead in the water. But when we were good, when we were talking about us in the way that I want us to get to, you just didn't worry about the conference. You worried about, are we better than Alabama? Are we better than, well, and even back then you didn't worry about that. Are we better than Florida? Are we better than Miami? Are we better than, in a given year, a team in the Big Ten? That's all you're really worried about. I think we're really close, Tom, because this is weird. I've said this already. I'm going to repeat myself, though. I think Florida State is very close to being at that spot, and I think they're going to be a lot better than almost everybody else I talk to. I really do. And I know how that plays. I get that people think in some ways I'm talking down Jordan Travis or certain elements of the team a year ago. And in some ways I am, in others, not the way they mean it. Because this is not a shot at Jordan. It's that Jordan was kind of probably asked not to play a certain way. So we didn't get the Jordan where all of his skills and abilities were on display. We didn't get it. We got a guy that was largely standing in the pocket, who only scrambled if he felt pressure. We didn't get a guy who was hell-bent on running. We just didn't get it. And we didn't get his best as a thrower either. He was better the previous year. He was not as good a thrower this year as he was the previous season. So you marry that with all the injuries, and that's a big part of what I'm saying. I think Florida State has a chance to be maybe even appreciably better on offense this year. I know that I'm in the minority there. I just think they will be.
Well, it starts with the offensive line and how good they are relative to last year, because Trey Benson, I think, will be appreciated over time as to how good, how valuable, how elusive, and how complete of a back he was. He never fumbled the ball. You can say now, you can't jinx him. He's off to the NFL. Never fumbled the ball. He made guys miss at a rate that was alarming. 2 years ago, only Bijan Robinson was in the same class as Trey Benson. He had top-end speed, like somebody 25 pounds lighter than him. So I think in order for the ground game to have a better impact and to have breakaway plays, because we weren't consistent on the ground, but we had breakaway plays thanks to Trey, thanks to his greatness. And he was a great Florida State back. You need to be much better on the offensive line in terms of run blocking. And if you are, then Roy Dell can become a guy. Keziah can become a player. I think it's going to be very hard to replace Trey Benson play for play, skill for skill. You're probably going to have to put 2 or 3 guys together to get something that is as productive as Trey. Same thing at receiver. You might have some guys that are projecting to get where Keon Coleman was. Are they there right now? That's tough to say. And Johnny Wilson was also something that is unique, that it's going to be hard to replace. The catch radius and the big catch ability. Like, who's going to be our guy on third and gotta have it? Because Johnny kind of was. Even though on 1st and 10, you were like, well, Johnny, you going to catch it? Like, third and gotta have it. Johnny had a pretty good career here.
We agree. I know there's no nice way to say it. Keon Coleman in the second half of the season was an average player. Johnny Wilson missed time due to injury. He was never a burner. I think collectively that's going to be a better wide receiving core. I just believe it can be. Health always matters, obviously. So if people get hurt, then it won't come to be. It won't come to pass. But I think that if you look at size and speed and the diversity of weapons that this offense has this year, marry it with an offensive line that will be better in the run game. I think it will be. It just is going to be better in the run game. They're bigger. They brought in more meat, seasoned veterans, a lot of experience, a ton of games played. I really just don't see a way that this offense isn't going to be better. Because, listen, if you're better in the run game, Tom, which is what you're saying this whole thing is predicated on, and I agree with you, then you're going to be better in the pass game. So yeah. I'm really high on this team. I have a question mark. No, the individual skill of a Trey Benson, we 100% agree. Like, what he was is freakishly good. He's going to get drafted. He's going to be a starter somewhere in the NFL. He's that good. But he was behind a sorry-ass offensive line, and we were wildly inconsistent. So if we're consistent running the football because the line's better, all the other stuff down the field, bringing in speed, bringing in a big-armed quarterback. He's got a much better arm than Jordan Travis. He's not as accurate. But, I mean, come on, man.
So we started rolling them out. There's a 2-part series with Dominic Robinson. We may do a third depending upon the response. But DJU's path to Florida State, breaking it down on film. You can find that on the channel right now. And Dominic is breaking down Clemson first. So we get a Clemson breakdown and Oregon State breakdown.
It's a frustrating breakdown.
The Clemson, well, his takeaway, he said, this is the most contrast I've had with my hypothesis and then what I saw on film. He's like, actually, DJ wasn't that bad at Clemson. You could see that there was a huge downgrade in the talent around him. The situation itself, this was my interjection, but the situation itself was dysfunctional. They fired their offensive coordinator. Like, if you think it's a DJU problem, you keep your offensive coordinator and just elevate Klubnik and say, well, he can run this offense. DJU can't. You fired the coach, and the quarterback decided to go away because they've got a young player. But they didn't have the weapons like they did for Trevor Lawrence or Deshaun Watson. He cited the fact that for DJU at Clemson, his average time to throw was 2.7 seconds. At Oregon State, it was nearly 3.2. So their offensive line play was worse. But when you break down the kid's abilities and you're talking about the big arm, he routinely will make a far hash throw. So the long side, it's a longer throw than they make in the NFL. It'll be a 20-yard gainer. It'll be on the button, and essentially it's like a 55-yard throw because of how wide the hash marks are in college football. The cannon for an arm that this guy has and his ability to go through progressions is very, very different than what Jordan had. The problem is the kid misses layups a lot.
He misses layups, and that's the big knock on him. There is no perfect quarterback. You can go through all this, and you'll always find faults with certain guys, and then you'll find strengths, and you'll talk about what you'd rather have. It's a preference thing. Depending on your offensive line, depending on your weapons, depending on a given makeup of your team in a season, there are very few people that have what Patrick Mahomes has, which is the whole kit and caboodle. He can run it. He can throw it. He can read it. He's smart. He's all of the things, right? In college, it's hard to find guys like that. Jordan was limited. Jordan became much better than we ever thought he could be. And I commend him in ways I never thought I would be able to do based on what I saw him early on in his career to be. But he still had limitations. And I've talked about this before. I know it gets people, in the fields. They get upset with you. They get mad because they love Jordan Travis. I love Jordan Travis just fine. But we can talk honestly that he had some limitations. DJU has a much better arm than Jordan Travis. He's much better.
Yeah.
Now, we'll see if he becomes as accurate. But I believe Mike Norvell's offense is an awful lot of why quarterbacks have a high completion percentage. So I think you're going to see that area of his game tick up.
Yeah.
Partly because of experience, but also because of Norvell's offense.
Well, and his knowledge, like he has been, this was another thing that, Dominic had talked about in the fall when we were breaking down Jordan and maybe some of the things that weren't working so hot, for Jordan last season this was his first foray as a featured quarterback in an offense, not a featured player in an offense. Well, DJU has been the featured quarterback in every offense he's led since he was 12, maybe younger. Like it's a completely different thing. This is a refined quarterback who, for some reason, you got a wide open dude in the middle of the field. He's running to the left. You hit him in the back shoulder. He's got to adjust. He goes down, and it's a gain of 8 instead of a touchdown. Like that. That is DJU's issue. It's not turning over the ball. It's not understanding what coverages are doing. Like this is a very refined player. And the Jonathan Smith offense that he just came from is more multiple than anything he ran in Clemson. It runs circles around the complexity of the Clemson offense that he ran. So DJU is coming in here with an immense amount of knowledge about offense, about concepts, about variety of formations.
Yeah.
So it is an interesting marriage. And the thing that I think would free this offense up to be better than last year, I'm not quite there with you yet, but
it's going to happen, Tom,
is that it's devoid of stars. I think that matters.
Yeah, you're not force feeding the football. You're right. There's no doubt it's devoid of stars. I do think Hakeem Williams is going to be a star.
It can birth some stars here. It can happen over time. But like last year, the one concern I had in the summer before the season started was, man, there's only one football. We're going to keep everybody happy around here. That would be my number one thing. You might get stuck if you're Mike Norvell in between because you want to do this, you want to do that, because you have all of these opportunities. Will you not have an identity at some point? That was my number one concern. Man, this is just hand the ball off when you're supposed to, throw it to the open guy. None of these guys have any right to feel like they are stars.
There's a stretch of play where, to your point, they didn't know who they were. I am going to continue to beat this drum, and I'm going to try to be careful along the way because I am prone to maybe hyperbolizing some of this to a degree. I didn't like last year's offense. I didn't like what we were trying to do. I didn't think the quarterback could do it. Keon Coleman was not himself for like the better part of 6 games. So it didn't make sense to do some of the things they were doing. We got screwed last year with injury that really muddied the waters of what you could do and what you couldn't do and what you were trying to do. And I feel like last year we were caught betwixt and between. Mm-hmm. I just don't think they could ever fully put their foot down on the throttle and be what they want to be. They couldn't be what they should be. And I suspect they have a better opportunity to be what Mike wants them to be this year. And it starts with the offensive line. But from there, they have more pieces. There was not a single speedy receiver, like really fast receiver, that played any valuable snaps for Florida State last season. Mm-hmm. They haven't. Keon Coleman's not fast. He's fast enough when he's healthy. He's really good. He's a polished receiver. He's an NFL wide receiver, but he's not known as a burner. Johnny Wilson's not a burner. Really didn't have anybody who was going to be a burner because the dudes that had a chance to be, in particular Destin Hill, got hurt. So you just never had it. And then Jaheim Bell got hurt, and he was never the same after that ankle injury. Yep. We only got, I think we basically got 2 or 3 games out of Jaheim Bell where he was healthy. That's it. This could be a surprising aspect of what we see next year for the large majority of the fan base. They're going to be like, golly, we're so much better on offense this year. Why? This is why. So
2 more things on DJU real quick. Good DJU is as good as an elite professional, like the throws he makes. Like, right. It comes and fits and starts, but when you see it for a quarter or like sometimes a game, because I remember doing the lead up to our first game against DJU or it might have been the home game in 22. I was like, oh my God.
He killed us in that game.
He's lighting it up. And then, then you're like, well, this is weird. He's an amoeba. He's very hard to figure out. And that's the task for Mike Norvell. But the thing I would say, if you're going to defend him, if you're going to do like the debate thing and defend him, the legitimate way to do so with Oregon State, his average target height was 5'11".
That's ridiculous. Yeah. What are we doing out here?
He had Kermit Whitfield and Bobo Wilson.
Not going to get it done. No.
He didn't have what he's going to have this year. Catch radius. Maybe if he misses a little bit,
he'll make the play. Yeah.
The kid's got 6 more inches of wingspan on one side to go make a play on the ball,
See, we got so excited talking about this, and I'm glad we did, because I'm really, this is a big belief of mine. I'll either be proven right or wrong. Doesn't matter. Time will tell. But I really do think we're going to be better on offense, and maybe appreciably better on offense, by the way. And that just rubs people the wrong way because they think it's a slight on Jordan Travis and Keon Coleman and Jaheim Bell and Trey Benson. And it's really not. All those guys got banged up, and Jordan didn't have certain elements of his game that could overcome that. By the way, we went 13-0. So, that's Mike Norvell. That is the ACC partly. And that's also a defense that became much better than we thought they were going to be. I never got to Nick Saban. I'm getting to Nick Saban in the next segment. This is Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant.
Excellence defines us, so we'll never let orthopedic pain and injury define you. TOC is a physician-led team of fellowship-trained specialists providing the highest level of orthopedic care in the region. With 12 centers of excellence and TOC Now urgent care clinics, our patients access affordable expert care fast. TOC, only experts. Schedule an appointment at teamtoc.com.
So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu. Mm-hmm. Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Is that what is the pork?
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Okay, the bungalow chungla. It's delicious. All these things, all the items, everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is a skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of that nobody would know and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair.
You're an asshole. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. By the way, at Orange Theory right now, they're doing, they've added some new things. So you have, you could do all cardio. So you could do run 50. So you just, instead of going on the weight floor and the rower, you're just running. And it's you, and they have goals set up for you. It could be a run for distance. It could be a push. It could be just a base pace. It could be an all out. It could be all these things, but you're doing it with some walk intervals in between. It's still interval training. It's awesome. And for those of you who think, well, I don't want to work out on the floor because I do my weights at home, or, you know, I can lift heavy weights in the gym, but I don't need to do it at Orange Theory. This is for you. Now, there's also a Lift 50 where you don't run at all, and all you do is lift weights. So Orange Theory is a good time right now. Go sign up. It works. It's interval training. It's science-backed. Nick Saban gave an interview. Chris Lowe wrote about it. Obviously, Nick retiring in January, 72 years old, still sharp as can be. We all know the 6 national championships and 17 seasons at Alabama. He has the one at LSU as well. So we know the resume. He has begun to speak out. I thought he would, about the state of college football, and it's in disarray, and how there needs to be somebody to bring common sense to college football. We're all for, and he is too, by the way, players getting paid. It's a long time in the making. It should have happened years and years and years ago. And in some ways it did happen, but it had to be under the table, and it was breaking the rules if you got caught and all that. He said, in part, I'm not really looking for a job, but I do know I'd like to impact college football in the best way that I can, whether it's being a spokesperson or anything else. Listen, I'm for the players. It's not that I'm not for the players. I've always been for the players. I want to see the players have a great quality of life, be able to create value for themselves. But we've gone to nobody talking about education, nobody talking about creating value for their future, to talking only about how much money they can make. I think the consequence of this could come down the road when some of these guys get to be 28 and 29 years old, and they didn't prepare themselves for when they can't play football anymore, which is what you should do while you're in college. And he went on to say he'd like to see sensible dialogue about how to help college football start moving in the direction of solutions before the current model completely explodes. And he doesn't want the situation to get to a point where schools begin to have to start cutting other sports because they don't have the requisite money to fund their football team. And how best to compensate players. Notice he didn't say he doesn't want to compensate players. He said, how best do we compensate players? Well, what's he doing here, Tom? He's acting as a czar of college football. He is doing the thing we want him to do. And I know it won't be universal, but this is what college football needs.
Yeah, I think this is where the Power 2 can solve their own problems. You know, like the Power 2 might be large enough when it's all shaking out. And you could call maybe the Big 12 the third one in. They've done a good job of setting themselves up.
Job. Their commissioner is a real man.
For the next 20 to 30 years. Like you could see them building into something over time.
Mm-hmm.
But you could reclassify that, and then those athletes are paid employees. Like you're going to have to get to a union at some point. Look, man, the new college football playoff deal by itself is going to be worth $8 billion. It was 7.8 when it was a 12-team format. Now they're tinkering with a 4-team. Just make it 16, you idiots.
Just go straight to 16. Stop. Yeah,
I agree, but that's going to be $9 billion, $10 billion, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So the money's too great. Unionize the players at the Power 2 or Power 3 level, reclassify them, and then college sports begins after football outside of that. That's where it should go. Hopefully Nick can get it there.
Yeah, listen, let's carry this over to hour number 2. By the way, in that hour, we have an interview. Coach McGahee from the baseball team joins us as well. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
At Paul's Termite and Pest Control, we know if you have something in your home that's not supposed to be there, you want it gone now.
Not in a couple of days, not tomorrow, but today. That's why we offer a same-day guarantee.
If you call Paul's before 12, one of our technicians will be out before 5. We guarantee it.
The health of you, your family, and your pets is why we promise to do everything possible to quickly resolve your problem.
And we do so using the safest chemicals. Notice a pest problem?
Call Paul's Termite and Pest Control before 12, and we're there before 5.
Call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control has been treating termites from the exterior of your home for about 25 years.
Paul's was the first to introduce the Centricon termite colony elimination system to North Florida and is the leader of this non-invasive treatment.
Instead of dumping gallons and gallons of harsh chemicals into our soil, Centricon uses environmentally sensitive treatments loaded in bait stations.
These stations are strategically placed around the home. If termites are present, they feed, take it back to the colony, which is shortly destroyed.
To learn more about Centricon
and a free consultation too,
call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
Man, I just got a text from my wife. She wants me to cook dinner and then snuggle on the couch next to a roaring fire.
So what's the problem, Dave? You already got the new grill and you're a great cook.
I got one major problem. We don't have a fireplace.
Man, that's an easy fix. Just call Hearth and Patio. They got a lot of fireplaces that can help you for your romantic evenings. Wood, gas, electric, and a ton of different sizes, man. Call Hearth and Patio today, 850-727-4282, or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio. Ignite that spark in your life.
At Epps Decorating Center, we're your locally owned Benjamin Moore retailer. We're your store for quality with brilliant and durable paints in a variety of sheens and thousands of colors. We're your store for service with one-on-one advice for contractors and homeowners. We're your local experts, and we're here to help with all your painting projects. Benjamin Moore, available at Epps Decorating Center with 2 locations in Tallahassee. Find a store near you and visit EppsDecorating.com. That's EppsDecorating.com.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Good to be with you. Hey, you know what I forgot to do? I just realized it. Tom, I've got some bets I got to make to start the hour here. You do realize the golf tournament in Mexico is getting ready to start. I promised I would make some of these bets, and I haven't yet. You want to put together a team together? Here we go. Here's how we're going to do it. Yeah, here we go. Nope, too late. I blew it. It's too late. Couldn't get it in. Got some side bets. By the way, if you want, sprinkle some pizza money on Bramlett to be a top 20. Okay. Having said that, there you go.
Did you say Bramlett?
Yeah.
Like Hamlet with a B?
Yeah. Sprinkle some pizza money on Bramlett if you want. Yeah, see, I'm trying to this makes me mad. I was trying to get the tournament that I wanted with Mexico, and I didn't get it in time and needed to be in by 5 a.m. Damn it. It's all right. Hey, Zaxby sponsors this hour, as always, and we love Zaxby's. 74 locations in Tallahassee. Go get you some delicious Zaxby's. And that salad is where it's at. Tom, I had it the other day. You're right about that.
The salads?
Salads are really good. They're really good.
So, okay, 74 locations. Let me find a random guy who hasn't teed off yet. Joseph Bramblett is his name. I just saw him.
Yeah, that's correct. Did you pick him?
I did not. No, I'm going through the scoreboard because I want to do a quick prop. James Hahn. James Hahn is playing in this tournament. Over under 74 today for James Hahn.
I'll go under.
Under 74 for James Hahn. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. See if I can find that on my local app up here. Make a play.
Yeah, you should. I like it.
That's how you get Zaxby's to help you wager. Great job, Zaxby's.
That's well done. Yeah, under 74 for sure. Yeah, it's good times. For those of you watching in the Heisen Linka law firm chat, We thank you for that. And off of the cap, it is recorded today. You guys can talk amongst each other. We were just talking, in fact, about Nick Saban and him being perhaps a czar for college football. It's interesting. He's pontificating on a lot of things that plague the sport right now, and he'd like to see some things get fixed here really soon. I'm going to read a quote for you here about some of what he's talked about. We were just getting into that a moment ago. People can give money to the university again and get a tax reduction for doing it. And the university in some kind of way shares, whether it's share revenue, whether it's buying marketing rights, which is a possibility. You can buy somebody's marketing rights as an institution. And I don't want to say cap because that sounds like a salary cap, but find a way for schools to invest the same amount of money in players, just like everybody can invest in the same amount in a scholarship. This becomes part of the scholarship. And just like an NFL player has a contract or a coach has a contract, something is in place so you have all of this rating of rosters and mass movement eliminated. I wonder what fans are going to say when they don't even know their team from year to year because there's no development of teams, just bringing in new players willy-nilly. He's not wrong about that. It's plagued college basketball. The sport's unrecognizable in college basketball. It does not resonate and connect to people the way that it once did because nobody knows who's on anybody's team anymore, and they're gone very, very quickly. Now, I know you grew up in the age of free agency, and that can still happen, and I'm fine with players transferring, but it ought not be that you transfer semester to semester to semester to semester as many times as you want to be. That's ridiculous. So I am for some sort of, for lack of a better term, contractual restraints that come with a scholarship.
Yeah, agreed there. And that is in direct opposition, because why wouldn't it be, to what the NCAA has said in the last week, in which Charlie Baker is saying that he's for unlimited transfers at this point. Now, that's a stance he is taking because the NCAA has been turned away legally at every
turn. They have no choice because they've had mud on their face. Yes.
Correct. And because basically the government's telling him what you're running never should have been in the first place. Like this is dumb. It's probably not legal on its face, but any challenge that's coming up from the NCAA's perspective is just tossed away. So he's putting his hands up to the sky. When you reorganize college football, and I would imagine the moment that you reorganize college football, big time sports will follow. Basketball will follow. Maybe some women's sports, as they gain in popularity and monetary value, will follow some of these rules. I just keep coming back to multi-year scholarship agreements. And if I'm going to give you a guaranteed 3-year scholarship, 4-year scholarship, or 1-year scholarship, and you could choose between those, it should be the secondary reporting on signing day of, okay, that kid chose Florida State. How long? Was it a year? Was it 2, 3, 4?
Right.
Because if it's a 2-year agreement, then you got him for 2 years. Meaning, if he wants to transfer, he's got to sit out a season like it used to be just 3 years ago, 3 seasons ago.
Yeah, and unless your coach leaves, I'm giving you one of those.
Well,
I'm not
you're
giving you
lucky
multiple.
enough that 2 coaches get fired or leave for the NFL in your career, then
yeah,
I'd say that you should maybe get a free pass.
Agreed. Unless your coach leaves, I'm just giving you one of those. That's it.
Yeah. I would fight you on that and say, if you're so unlucky that you go to 2 different destinations, your coach up and leaves both times, you shouldn't be screwed. Yeah, that's really unlucky on your part. But yeah. I also think if a coach leaves, like from Oklahoma to USC, you probably shouldn't be able to follow him, because we got to discourage coaches from just uprooting a roster program and dropping it in place from one part of the country to the other. But
that's very anti-Tom Lang. I've never heard you say something like that. I'm surprised you say that. To allow you wouldn't let somebody leave after they committed to a coach? Because you're going to argue they committed to the university, but we both know that's not true.
No, I'm not arguing that. This is a check against coaches from becoming.
And it could hurt players, but yeah.
It could hurt players, but if a coach is so money grubbing that he's going to go from one situation to another, and I'm talking if you're at this power level. If you're in a group of 5 and you take some kids with you to the power 2, good for you. Good job, kid. You're going up in the world. It's almost like the right to work state thing.
Yeah.
If you're getting a promotion, they can't touch you. I got a promotion. I don't care if it's in the same category to a different company. Like, I should be allowed to grow.
I'm allowed to go and
But if I'm going from USC down the road to UCLA because they just offered me $5 million more a year, and I promise I'm gonna bring my whole roster with me, the players can leave USC. They just can't go to UCLA. They can go somewhere else because we're gonna protect coaches from just taking a program from one place to the next. But we're losing the point. The point should be here that on signing day, if a player makes an agreement for a set period of time, he should have options from 1 year to 4. That is how long they must stay at the university, with the coach leaving provision, if they want to be able to walk from door to door. So if I sign a 3-year and I leave from Florida State to Miami, I got to sit out a year.
There's got to be some sort of restrictions. I mean, this is silly. Well, and everybody knows it's silly, but everybody also knows is they can't do anything about it right now because the courts keep telling them they can't. So you're just kind of in a stuck situation. This is going to have to be an agreed upon thing from the universities and players alike.
This is where collective bargaining comes in. And in order to be collectively bargained, the players have to have status of some kind. I think, unless you reclassify the Power 2 and they say, well, no, now players, if they're not in the Power 2,
can do whatever the hell they want because the courts have decided that. But in our league, this is the way things work. Yeah.
Because we want to protect our assets, which is our coaches as well. We want to protect them too, because we're going to lose them all if we don't enact these types of rules. And
coaches are leaving. This is going to happen. If nothing changes, these guys are all gone. There's nobody that would sign up for this. And I saw, was it yesterday? What's his face at Dillingham at Arizona State said to coaches who are complaining about the state of college football, if you don't like it, just leave. Yeah, man. Okay, pal. Whatever. That doesn't help anything. And also, people they will leave. They're all going to leave. You will too, Dilly, because this is untenable. This is untenable.
That's Kenny saying, hey, those of you who are better than me at your job or at better programs, please do.
Please leave. Please leave.
My path to the NFL doesn't come straight from Arizona State.
Yeah.
I have moved around a lot, but for me to get someplace where it's more stable and, a better situation, I need y'all Power 2 job.
Maybe I'll start winning some games. So Saban went on to say, and this is interesting, that he's not as well versed, at least he's self-aware here, on the legality of everything, such as SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, or, as he said, Alabama Athletic Director Greg Byrne. Quote, they would be more qualified to serve in a college football commissioner's role than I am. They're in it every day and know all of the issues. That's why I'm hesitant to come up with a firm solution, because you don't know the consequences of the solution relative to, all right, do we have to pass antitrust laws to be able to do it this way? What does this entail? It's one thing to come up with a solution. It's an entirely another thing to implement it. I'm just here to try to help. I actually believe him. I believe that he, in earnest, loves the game, loves his players, wants to see something sensible come to college football. And this is why I think most people would vote yes on him being the czar of college football. I think most of us think that is true. He comes by it earnestly.
I agree with that. After he abused the system to make sure that it benefited him.
Of course. Yeah. Well, he played the game that he had to play.
Yes, correct. As in, majors that are very soft to process kids, get them in, get them out.
Of course. Yes.
Now that he's outside of it, he can play the moral card, and he can, and it could be right. It can be from his heart that he wants to work with the, reforms.
It doesn't make him a saint. I'm not holding him on high. I'm saying he's a great candidate. But like all political candidates, they're carrying water. They're corrupt. There's no honest political candidate. There's not a single one.
Yeah, agreed.
So,
the model, the model I always loved in my own theoretical head was you get a choice when you come out of high school. We can either pay you a lot of money right here, right now, but if you suck, we cut you. Or you could take the Scally. We'll cover your cost of attendance as it was. Your meals are covered, your housing, your books, all that kind of stuff.
Doesn't suck, yeah.
And you got some walking around money. Nothing crazy, but walking around money. But if you suck, you committed us and you're furthering your education. So there you go. And if you choose that, the system would be a little bit more honest. It'll never be that simple. I don't think it can ever be that simple. But the hope we have is when the NCAA said 10 years ago, whatever, we quoted this article, that Power 5 could legislate amongst itself.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have that happen again where the power two can legislate amongst itself. And the headaches are going to remain with the group of five. The headaches are going to remain with the group of whatever it is, that's not of the power two. But that group of 25, 30, 40 schools is going to be able to create rules that allow for this nonsense in the portal to stop. But we're not there yet.
It has to happen. I think we're presiding over and witnessing the ruination of college football right now, as it is. Now, it may be moving towards something more ideal that you're talking about, which is why you wanted it to be a Kickstarter. We all did to some degree. So we don't begrudge that things changed in some ways for the better, especially for the student athlete. But we do recognize that the current system is untenable and nobody's presiding over it. So this is the problem. We got change. We wanted change. Some of the change is good, but not all of it's good. And nobody's in a position to do anything about it. And everybody's afraid to stand up and do anything about it because they're going to get shot down in the courts. And so you're kind of just stuck in a place where you're in limbo and nobody wants to be in limbo. We talk about this all the time. Being in limbo in your life, being in limbo in athletics, being in limbo in your job, and it's awful. Nobody can handle that. Either you're in a good place or a bad place. You can deal with that. You'll figure it out. Limbo sucks.
Well, the problem is if you want to ask some of the hard questions, you might as well just be drinking hemlock while you do it. Like, for example, have athletic budgets for other sports gotten too robust, and do we need fewer sports, in an average athletic department? Because the thing is that the revenue has swelled so much from football, it can fund a whole lot of other things.
It funds all the other sports, yes.
Right. So do we have too many Olympic sports? And I'm not just talking women, man. I'm talking men's and women's Olympic sports. Do we have too many cross-country teams around the country? Do we have too many, that's too many swimming and diving teams? Like, this gets personal immediately. I'm sure there's folks listening that are a part of those programs. That is a hard question.
Yeah, they become club teams if you're doing it the way you're talking about, right?
Right, and the scholarships maybe aren't as available, or the gear, or the coaching salaries. But that's the whole thing is, has this been a bubble all along where football has been able to foster the growth of programs that maybe should have never grown, especially when you consider that, again, the playoff itself is going to generate upwards of $10 billion over a set period of time. And we were always believing the football players themselves didn't deserve a special distinction.
Well, no, yeah, and nobody really believed that, if they were honest. I know that you can get down in the weeds with all this, and it does. Saban's right about that, because that's the point you're making. Like, hey, I don't know how we do this. Here are my suggestions. Admittedly, there may be legal ramifications to what I'm saying that I'm unaware of.
Well, and Title IX is an important thing here. We were just talking about the growth of basketball.
Yeah.
Like, it worked. It worked. But Title IX also allows for protections that say that, a football player in some ways has to be equal to another sports player from the women's side of the athletic department.
And they're not.
The revenue is so absurd that just cannot be true. It doesn't mean that you're anti-equality or access to scholarships.
Nobody is against the existence of the WNBA.
Right.
The truth is, nobody goes and watches the WNBA, and it's funded by men's basketball. Period.
Yes, my point would be that nobody's against scholarship sports for women.
Right.
But when you have to equate those in the university budget, it's like, man, NIL is not going to cover the difference forever. It's going to have to come from these exorbitant television revenue dollars. That's what people are tuning in to see. It is a special distinction. The difference is absurd. I mean, the College Cup's still on ESPNU. You can't put it on ABC for 2 effing hours? Like, what? I mean, you're putting on a group of 5 game between two, or one group of 5 and an FCS game, and that's still on like the CW. It's not on ESPNU. So, like, these are the hard questions that nobody wants to touch them. Nobody wants to touch them with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, because they're not easy solutions. They're not easy answers. And also you run into real resistance and pushback and blowback that ends up being something that makes you throw your hands up. It's really, really difficult. I do think a good starting off place would be to have a czar of college football here. And I think Nick, to a larger point, would be a very good one. And I think you could surround yourself with people that have the best interest in mind, but also understand the legalities.
And to be clear, I don't understand the legalities. I just understand the basis by which, if you're an athletic director and you're like, well, I've got an idea and you wanted to go down this path. Oh my God.
Good luck with that. Yeah.
No shot.
Coach McGay, he joined us yesterday morning at the same time, right after I talked to Coach Posey. And he's going to talk with us in a moment here on the Jeff Cameron Show. Has done a really great job. In part, it's not solely him, but done an amazing job of revamping this Florida State lineup and recruiting. And obviously 20-plus players changed. He did it once at Pitt under Coach Mike Bell, who was formerly here at Florida State, of course, who played here at Florida State. And now he's doing it here at Florida State under the directive of Link Jarrett. And I think, personally, just from 3 games of watching, they've lengthened this lineup and got much better at depth of arms. This is going to be a fun season for Florida State baseball. He'll join us next. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Imagine your team always looking and feeling their best in high-performance technical workwear. Cintas can make it happen. They have garments for almost every job imaginable. And with the Cintas Workwear program, you get freshly laundered garments delivered every week for everyone on your team. Great garments without the bother of laundry. That's a real perk for employees. Find out how Cintas can boost team image and morale. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Orthopedic pain and injury deserves effective treatment options now, so you feel better fast. Whether you have joint pain that won't subside or an urgent orthopedic injury, we are the specialists to get you back on your feet. And there's only one thing better than fast care: expert care. We believe you deserve both. TOC, only experts. Learn more at teamtoc.com.
Oh, look, a magic lamp. Let's see if this thing works.
Ha-ha! I will grant you one wish.
Whoa, hey, I need a new car, but I have bad credit. Can you help me with that?
Aha! Your wish is my command.
That was crazy. Where are we? They've got Mercedes, Infiniti, Teslas, BMWs, Jeeps, trucks. This place is amazing.
This is Autoland. Over 250 luxury cars, trucks, and SUVs to choose from. And loan approval with no credit.
Low credit? No credit? No worries. When other dealers tell you no, Autoland is the place to go. Come check out Autoland's huge selection of over 250 vehicles on site. A literal land of automobiles. Visit Autoland today at 3404 Appalachia Parkway, just east of Capitol Circle. Or view the inventory online at AutolandTally.com. That's AutolandTally.com.
My work is done here.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5.
Florida State assistant Ty McGahee joins us on the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. Great win last night, Coach. I just got done talking to Coach Posey, and now you. I know you guys got in late, so I appreciate you making time. So first things first, I got to ask you this because it looks like this lineup has been lengthened quite a bit from a year ago. And so I see power up and down the lineup. I see a lot of bat to ball. I see a lot of power. This isn't your first rodeo in totally rehauling a roster. I know at Pitt at the time, it was the greatest overhaul of players in ACC history. The one at Florida State is greater than the one at Pitt in terms of numbers. Take me through this process. It's a wild time to recruit. You have the portal, you have high school, you have JUCO. Obviously, the season did not go the way that Link wanted a year ago. Made a lot of changes to the staff and to the roster, and you're a big part of trying to find these dudes. So take me through it.
Well, no, you're absolutely right. I went to Pitt, 6 years ago with Mike Bell.
Yeah.
And, we kind of went through the same thing there that Link went through here, where we inherited, a group that needed to get better, and we had to make some changes and, bring in some players that were going to help us win games at this level. And we were able to do that there. It probably prepared me for, going through this process here at Florida State. And you're right. When you look at that lineup and you look at that roster of position players and pitchers as well, there's a lot of experience, a lot of guys who've done it before. Maybe at the mid-major level or the junior college level, or even, some of the freshmen coming in. But there's been a lot of people involved in this. Obviously, Link's had his hand in it in a big way. But bringing in all these players and then getting them to buy in and to come together as a team. And, we're just kind of starting on this journey. But thus far, the results have been pretty good. And it seems like, we're heading in the right direction.
You've been doing it a long time, so tell me what's changed. What's the most radical shift? Everybody hears about the transfer portal. Everybody hears about the way things work. It flows both ways, though. You had a couple guys play last night for North Florida against Florida that were on the FSU roster a year ago. Right. So this goes both ways. Talk to me a little bit about the process, how much it's changed, what you're looking for when you see a guy's name in the portal. What's a Link directive for you? Like, talk a little bit about how you go through this process and what you're looking for specifically.
Well, you're right. And I've been doing this a long time. We go back to 20 years ago, and this was the way of the world 20 years ago, before the one-time transfer rule was taken out. This was how college baseball, operated. And we're kind of back to that now. Now, there are a lot of different factors today than there were back then, but the portal and the NIL aspect and, trying to take care of these players and give them a great experience, it really has changed and dramatically changed over the last, 2 to 3 years when you start talking about how the transfers go about and acquiring those guys, going through the recruiting process with, a kid that is a junior in college versus a junior in high school is completely different. It's a completely different sales pitch. A lot of these older guys are looking for opportunity. And I think you start looking at the guys that we were able to bring in and that Link really targeted this past summer. And that was their draw to Florida State, was obviously the tradition and the history of the program and, all the things that we're able to provide for them. But at the same time, it was an opportunity. And I think they saw that. And that drew a lot of them here, and a couple of local guys, a lot of guys with ties to the state and the area that had familiarity with the program. But, it's just, every case is individual. And, when you start really looking at your needs and what we need to be successful and even into next year, okay, we start to identify, we've got to have this position. We've got to have this type of hitter. We need this type of arm, this type of bullpen piece, whatever it may be. You can be a little more specific. You're almost talking like a general manager of a major league team now, instead of just, acquiring talent. You're acquiring pieces that allow you to help win games.
How excited were you when Max Williams became available? I went and looked it up out of curiosity before you came on this morning, and I said I'm gonna ask him about him because that's the first I've seen of the kid, was the line drive home run to the deepest part of the park, and then I watch him hit a ball off the pitcher last night, and I think to myself, every time I watch this kid swing, he hits the ball very hard. It's violent. And so he had 25 at-bats last year at Alabama. In those at-bats, he had 8 hits, 5 walks, 3 doubles, 7 RBIs. So that's just who he is. He's a productive kid with a really nice, short, compact, violent swing, right?
He really is, and he's also a really good outfielder. He's a good athlete, a good runner. He's a very savvy baseball player, and honestly, he's a fun kid to be around. He's one of those guys, kind of those glue guys on the team that everybody gravitates to. But he was at Alabama last year. He's a Florida kid from around the Jacksonville area, and had a chance to be on a really good team last year at Alabama that played in a super regional. So he's got some experience of what good baseball looks like. You mentioned the 25 at bats. He also went off and played in the Northwoods League in the Midwest this past summer and played a full season and got 150 plus at bats to be able to really hone his craft. And now we're kind of reaping the rewards of that here as the sophomore. He's been able to step in and be a really productive player for us.
Coach, but rather than me to go through every newcomer, if you want to highlight some of the guys that are listeners and fans of the program that maybe are just going to be getting to some Florida State baseball games coming up here real soon, haven't seen much, they know that a lot has changed within the program. Highlight some of the guys that Florida State's brought in this year that people are going to get to see quite a bit of.
Yeah, from a position player side, you look in the infield, and we got 3 new players that are playing the infield every day right now, and that's certainly a fluid situation, and there's a lot that goes into that. But the talent level in the middle of the field has certainly gotten better. Drew Farrow is the local kid here who's playing second base to start the season here, and he's gotten off to a good start at the plate. He's really hitting balls hard and having some really good at bats. Alex Lodis is the transfer from North Florida. Who's really come on and played great defense the first couple games here. Is kind of a steady presence at the bottom of the lineup and has gotten on base and really done his job there. And then Daniel Cantu is a graduate transfer senior first baseman from South Florida, from the University of South Florida, who's, a left-handed presence in the lineup, very mature kid, mature at bats, has been a steady defender for us in a crucial position there. Jackson West is the catcher who transferred in from Alabama as well, who's, one of our better defenders back there and has gotten a lot of opportunities thus far. So, we really feel like we've upgraded that group collectively, but you start looking at those individual pieces and there's a lot of talent, man, and a lot of really good players.
It's interesting, Coach. You mentioned Lodis last night. Had to make a lot of plays early on in this game, and after the weekend with all the strikeouts, we didn't know if Florida State could field the ball. But here you go. You got an opportunity, right, with all those ground balls from Connor Whitaker. And then that's the play of the game, right? The diving stop and the throwback to the plate to keep that run from scoring. Farrow playing second. I think a lot of people didn't think that would be the case, and he's looked good early. You mentioned having a real first baseman, like a guy who's meant to play first base there. Good to see Cantu get a hit last night because he got robbed over the weekend. He hit the ball so hard so many times. I thought this kid's got to be furious.
If you go through the at-bats from all the players and you look at the exit velocities of the balls coming off the bat, his is probably at the top of the list. And I think he went through the weekend and had 1 hit to show for it. So, that's baseball, and it kind of has a way of evening itself out. But he got a big knock last night to score 2 runs, drive in 2 runs in the first inning, and has just had great at-bat after great at-bat after great at-bat. And if you do that, if you can put those things together, the results are going to show up for you.
And you got a heck of a leadoff hitter who's back again this year, who got hurt last year, and watching him get a hit again right off the bus last night. I mean, every game Florida State's played this year, he's led off with a hit, right? I mean, it's been funny to watch so far. So you've got guys setting the tables quick.
Diamez has just been a spark plug. He's been an absolute spark plug, and he plays with such energy and passion out there. You can see him on the bases. He's messing around with the pitchers, and he just is one of those guys that makes the engine go. Like when he goes, everybody else seems to go behind him, and he's been really good to get off to a good start. And he was playing really well last year. I know he dealt with a lot of injuries, but when he was in there early in the season, going back and watching video and talking to these guys, like there were flashes of what he was going to be able to do, and he's certainly shown that so far.
Yeah, Diamez Ross is a really good player. Final thing, Coach, I noticed so far through 3 games, this has been a very aggressive team on the base paths. Talk to me about the philosophy here. Is that going to continue? I know JU's a good team, so I don't want to say as the competition gets better because JU's good. But like, is that going to be the overriding philosophy? You think you have that kind of athleticism now up and down the lineup?
Well, we've got the ability to put some pressure on the defense. I think when it's all said and done, this is going to be a team that can really hit for power. I don't know that we've necessarily shown that to this point, but when you start talking James Tibbs and Cam Smith and Jaime Ferrer and some of these guys, we're going to have the ability to really drive the ball at the ballpark. But to this point, we've had to play a little different style, and that's okay. I think, having some of the athleticism that we have up and down the lineup right now allows us to do those things. Talk about Diames, Thoreau, Lodis. Those guys can run and they can put pressure on defense. Cam Smith, to be, as big a
he
kid
can move.
as he is, he can go, man. Like, I'm coaching third base, and he's on first, and you hit a double in the gap, and he's on me. Like, he's really moving once he gets that thing going. So we've been able to do that. And you're right, JU's a very good team year in and year out. That's a regional team. And they're going to be a good team this year. They played well last night. And that's a tough place to go into. And it's a credit to our guys to walk in there, this early in the season and not be fazed by a hostile environment, and then playing a good team on the road and come out with a win and to battle back. I mean, we got punched a little bit and we punched back, and that was great to see.
That's the best thing that I think came out of last night. Obviously, watching Dorsey throw electric fastball after electric fastball is also fun. But I mean, to see, obviously, Smith hit the double the other way to get it started, and then all of that kind of comes around, and you start thinking about the way the season went a year ago. I know you weren't, but you watch that and you say, that's a game they lose a year ago, but that's a game they win last night against a good team. Obviously, that closer who came out for JU was, all conference a year ago, real good arm.
And they ran out 4 or 5 good arms. And I think throughout the course of the game, we had really good at bats up and down the lineup. And honestly, it's a credit to some of our pitchers, because we get to see those guys, and the stuff is ticked up so much for us on the mound. I don't want to say better than last year, but probably more depth than last year, where we get to see those guys day in and day out. Our hitters get to face those guys. And so when they step in the box and they see the guy from JU throwing 94, 95, 96 miles an hour, it's not a shock to them. They've seen that a good bit, and they've had a chance to prepare off of it by facing our guys. So, I think we were ready for that challenge. And you're right. The guy last night, I think he had 14 saves last year.
Yeah, he's a stud. Yeah.
Just a guy. Like, he's a real dude. And for us to come up and have 5 or 6 at bats in a row like that off of him, it's a testament to what we've been doing. And, hopefully we can continue going in this direction.
I enjoyed it, Ty. Thank you very much, Coach. We'll talk again real soon. Be well, sir.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jeff.
Yep. Take care. That's Ty McGahee, assistant coach there at Florida State. And as the roster overhaul, he's in large part in charge of doing a lot of that. And you'll see this team has certainly got power. He mentioned it a moment ago. I think it's a lineup that's been lengthened with a lot of power. That's exciting. And then you see the better pitching so far this year. Off to a good start is Florida State baseball. We'll all be watching. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Attention, Florida. Are you a victim of an auto accident? We introduce our live chat sponsor, Hyson Leaka Law Firm, dedicated to representing injured clients statewide. If you've been in an accident, call Hyson Leaka Law Firm at 813-803-0733 for a free consultation. Remember, there's no cost to you unless they win. Your interests come first with Hyson Leaka Law Firm, the name you can trust for justice. Call 813-803-0733 now or visit HysonLeakaLawFirm.com. Hyson Leaka Law Firm, your advocate in times of need.
Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, and I have been a mortgage lender for over 20 years. And I can tell you that there is no such thing as perfect timing. So take the first step towards your new home and let me show you what that really looks like. Chances are very high that you'll be very surprised at what I can help you do. When rates go low, prices go high, and that home that you've been eyeballing could be gone. If you're wondering how the drop in interest rates is going to affect your payment, give me a call. I'll be more than happy to show you all of the options available to get you into your new home. And for every single loan that we close for a fellow Knoll, I will personally donate $250 per closing to the battle's end. Let's do this together, and let's keep climbing. Call me today at 954-369-6171. That's 954-369-6171. Or you can find me online at loansforknolls.com. That's loansforknolls.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS number 373031. I'm Greg Tisch, here to share one of my favorite TCC stories. In the summer of 1966, Eugene Lamb wanted to stay in shape before leaving to play college basketball in Louisiana. So he jogged to Tallahassee from his home in Midway and helped lay the bricks for the first building on what's now the TCC campus on Appleyard Drive. Today, he is a longtime member of the TCC District Board of Trustees. It's no exaggeration when we say Trustee Lamb helped build TCC into what it is today.
TCC thanks our community for 58 years of support. We look forward to moving into the future together.
Hello, I'm Dana Brooks.
And I'm Jimmy Basic of Basic Brooks Law Offices.
Traffic cameras are everywhere these days.
And Basic Brooks has partnered with RoadProof to get access to all their vast network of cameras.
This is a valuable tool to help us search for evidence that could help you if you were involved in an accident.
If you've been hurt in an accident, call Basic Brooks and we'll find out if the proof you need is out there.
Call Basic Brooks and we'll do everything we can to help you come back stronger.
Call us now at 850-777-7777.
For 3 days only, February 23rd through the 25th, area boat and motor buyers will save thousands at Mike's Marine and Houseboat Show in beautiful Panacea. This is the event you don't want to miss. Every Yamaha motor from 2.5 to massive 425 horsepower has special extra low pricing. Yamaha, more in 24. Check out the region's largest selection of the best boats, including Skeeter, Sea Hunt, Robalo, Tidewater, and G3, inshore, offshore, river, or lake. Mike's Marine has a boat for you, and you will buy for less. Some boat packages discounted over $10,000. Save on all accessories, including electronics and trolley motors too. They even drop prices on all pre-owned inventory. Lenders will be on site providing instant credit approvals and easy financing options. Door prizes too. And while you're there, drop in on one of Pannacea's phenomenal seafood restaurants. Hours of the show are Friday and Saturday from 8 to 6 and Sunday from 10 to 4. The Mike's Marine In-House Boat Show, February 23rd through the 25th. Don't miss it.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout free visible toning and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.
Wrapping it up, that was a good conversation with Coach McGahee. Hope you enjoyed that. Final segment of the week. Off tomorrow, off Monday, off to Vegas. Let's solve for the future with our friends at IS. I'm solving for the future. I'm going to Las Vegas. But you can too with our friends from ISF. Maybe not as fun, admittedly.
There's just a little bit of Buck Showalter in Ty McGahee's voice. Just a little bit of the way he delivers things. I just wanted to bring that up. I didn't have a chance to say that, but next time there's a little bit of Buck in there.
Sounds like a baseball coach, doesn't he? He sounds very much like a baseball coach. My friends at ISF, by the way, help out our friends at the Department of Children and Families. They did a feasibility study for them. In fact, they worked with the Florida Department of Children and Families to define their vision, goals, and the future of a critical system serving the public good. How awesome is that? Just to be able to say that. Yeah, I did this thing where I was able to fulfill a vision, goals, dreams for the future, the Department of Children and Families. That's the kind of company we are at ISF. We do modernization of technology, operations, updated schedule, the 4B documentation so that the department to request funding for improvements could happen a little bit quicker, right? That's what we do at ISF, ISF.com. There we go. We'll solve for the future by wrapping up the program. And I think you just heard an entire segment of how Florida State was solving for the future on the baseball team, because I know many times last year while I watched Florida State baseball, I thought, these kids need to hit the bricks. They need to get the hell up out of here. They suck at baseball. I'm tired of looking at them. Get them out. And there were a few exceptions, and those exceptions remained here. Tibbs, for example, Ferrer, although his ABs drive me nuts, is a plus player despite those awful at-bats that he has at least twice a game. But he makes up for it by having a ton of power to the opposite field and coming up with clutch hits right when you're about to curse his name for having struck out with the bases loaded previously in the game on 3 pitches.
Diamez Ross is another good holdover. Yep.
Great player. There are others. Holbrook held over because he was injured all of last year. Brings you a ton of power from the catcher position. Is off to a great start. There are guys. I got it. No, there are guys. Arnold is a guy. And, there are plenty of guys. But A lot of those kids that needed to hit the bricks were told to hit the bricks. That's solving for the future right there.
Well, I could solve for the near future. You won't be doing this tomorrow because God knows what state of mind you'll be in a casino or some such thing. When is the show? Is
Saturday night.
Oh, tomorrow will be a good day for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you should see if you can drop a 10 large on Florida State baseball tomorrow, 5 o'clock first pitch.
Yeah, I'm going to walk in with a duffel bag. It'll be empty, but I'll tell everybody I want to bet 15 grand. Hey, look at my phone. I've got the manager. I got the
just pull up Link Jarrett's contact information. Ruin his career while you're at it, even though he didn't do anything. You just pulled him up as on the info.
I've got him in here. I can do it. Yeah.
That's a threat, I think. We should probably move on.
I would never do that. I want Florida State to win.
Cam Leiter is must-see television for the near future. You know, this is Friday at 5, Friday at 6, whenever our first pitch on Friday is going to be in the weeks to come. Man, you have my attention with 13 strikeouts facing 15 batters, or recording 15 outs, excuse me, and 13 of them being strikeouts. Yeah, okay. Let's see if he turns into true must-see television for the entire fan base, where Knoll fans in general saying, hey, make sure you turn in to see Leiter tonight. That dude's going to be a stud in the bigs. Like, I hope that's where this is going, because it was a great start.
I think their starting pitching period is going to be good. I think they have 3 legit starters that have a chance to be maybe 4 to be very, very good. And they've got, like you said yesterday, a bunch of long relief guys. We've seen how many guys they've chosen to extend in preseason to 70, 75, 80 pitches. Man, you might have 5 or 6 options as starting pitching goes here, and that is a big damn deal.
Yeah, I want to see the variety of the arms too. Like, this is where, when you're in prime time here, scrimmages are nice and field reports and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But when you start to see the sequencing of how it plays out, the differences in the stuff, it sounds like there's an emphasis on we want batters to see 2 different things in a game if they can. Like, this is one of my gripes as a professional baseball fan of my National League champion baseball team nearly 10 years ago now, sadly. They all threw 99, and there were high slot guys from the right side. Like,
so by game 2 or 3, you kind of figured it out.
I mean, yeah, it's great that you've got a bunch of those dudes. That's awesome. Yeah. But you know what? Everybody's timed up. You got to mix it up a little bit, and that's where Dorsey is an ultimate weapon there from the left side. But I want to see what else we got. I mean, and you heard from Posey yesterday. They got a freshman that they really love. I want to see the sequencing in a given weekend. Might be too much too soon because of the opponent. Maybe next weekend in Greenville, when they play 3 teams from the Midwest, Illinois, Michigan State, and I think Western Michigan, in whatever order. This is a learning process, and sometimes you dread what you're about to learn about a team. I can't wait to see what we learn about this baseball team.
Yeah, listen, it's understood that beating Butler and JU to start the year is a nice thing, but it's also not the best you're going to face. Although I will contend that JU team is good, and they're going to be good the rest of this year. And I think they will be. They ran out a bunch of arms. JU did, and they were pretty good. But good teams dispatch of bad teams in the manner that Florida State dispatched of Butler. And so when you have your starters combined in a 2-game set instead of 3 games, because they won washout, for 10 innings pitched, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, 22 strikeouts to 2 walks. That is doing what you're supposed to do with a bad team. That's a starting pitching combination that dominated overwhelmed hitters. Good. We didn't have a single guy after the injuries last year that could do that. Not consistently.
Agreed. And it's funny. I'm coming full circle because my brain was going, well, I can't wait to see what this group does. I do want to see the bottom half of the lineup, how much they rotate there too. But then it was, man, I can't believe we're going all in this early on baseball. I know that was the way in the 90s. That was the way for much of the 2000s. But it hasn't been the way for the last 15 years all that much. Even when we were good, I'd be thinking about what's next for FSU basketball. And that's how we kind of started today.
That's a shame, yeah.
And they do go play at the new Little John on Saturday night at 7:45, but it's like, Meanwhile, the juice is with baseball at the moment. Like, it makes me sad. It makes me sad, but I'm excited. It's not at Link's expense. It's just, this could have been, you win a couple more of those games in non-conference, you could still be in the conversation here for a roadie at Clemson, because if you get that win, It would be a quality win on the road.
I'm looking for. I tried. Yeah. Quality win on the poor sick Gene. That is one of my favorite moments ever. We beat him with a Little John. Yeah.
It's an all-timer. He was a pro's pro, man. I mean, I know he's still working for the Bucks. I think one more year, but
I think so. Yeah. I'm trying to find it, Tom. I'm looking here at the end of the show. It's great radio. I'm looking for Florida State. I can't get them on the Hard Rock because I think they only do day of on the Hard Rock. So I have to look tomorrow. I'm just going to say that I'm going to be.
Can't you get players on Prize Picks? Like, couldn't you tomorrow look at Cam Leiter strikeouts? I think you could.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think I could do that. Yeah, I probably could. I'll have to look that up. I don't know. Prize Picks doesn't pay us anymore, so whatever. But
but it could pay you if you get it right. You're just like, hey, I'm going over those 9.5 strikeouts. Get the hell out of here with those 9.
Yeah, no, I think I will. I'm intrigued. I'm gonna do what they call fading Florida State basketball. I'm gonna short Florida State basketball. I don't like our chances in many of the remaining games, Tom. I want to see what odds I can get with what games remain. I don't feel good about the upcoming stretch here. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think we match up well with Clemson. If that's a fair number, I'll take Clemson. I hate doing it, but you might as well make some money on your misery.
I think you are wrong. There you go. And if you ask me why,
I
just do.
You're just hoping against hope, buddy. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I wish. It's just not. It's not going to come to pass. We're just not very good.
So, you're obviously taking in a show at Sphere. Are you doing any other shows? Is it casino only? Like, how does it work? Because you and Christy are going. So, what's the dynamic like? How many things?
I told her she could pick any other show, and we'd go. I'd spring and we'd go to it. So I don't know what she's picked yet. She was going through it last night. She didn't tell me. I really didn't care because I don't care about any of the other shows. So I just said, pick whatever you like and we'll go do it. So I sadly, I'm not able to tell you. I'm sure I'm going to another show. But I'm also going to gamble, and we're staying at Mandalay Bay. So I'm going to be by the pool, that giant ass pool that they have. They have a beach. They have a effing beach. So we're going to do that, which is awesome. And then I'm going to gamble a lot. And I know she basically allowed for me. She was like, I want time by the water. I'm like, you take all the damn time you want by the water. I'm going to be in there drinking and gambling. And she's like, all right, well, I'll come in and take care of you. I was like, okay, sounds good. So, yeah, one of the nights we'll have a really, probably two of the nights we'll have a really, really good dinner. I'm going to do it right. I'm going to treat my wife well, and we're going to have a great time. We'll go to have an expensive dinner, go to some other show, and then we got the U2 show at the Sphere on Saturday. I don't know what we're going to do Sunday, anything we want, really. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
What's the plan? Because there's more options at a casino in Vegas than most others. Is it blackjack tables? Is it you hole up at the sports book for a few hours? Like, do you have to get mapped out?
Yeah, I'm going to do some sports book stuff. I'm going to place some bets, although we can place a lot of those bets now here in a way that we couldn't. So that part of the allure is gone to some extent. But you get more options at the sports book in Vegas on what you can bet. And then I think so I've got some futures.
And the people watching at the sports book is always very good.
It's always great. So I've got some futures that I'm going to lay for college football. I'm going to do a few things, and then blackjack, mainly blackjack, a little bit of poker, but mainly blackjack. Yeah.
You going to do what your boy does? Put a certain amount on black and let it roll.
Let it roll right when I walk through the door.
Yeah,
I'll do it in your honor. What do you place? Like 100, 200? What do you do?
Depends on, I mean,
what the bankroll is for the week.
Yeah. But I think 100 is a fair.
Yeah. Place. Just put 100 on black, let it ride, and see how your trip's going to go. Right.
That's right. Yep.
Okay, I'll do it. Yeah, it'll be fun. I'll do it. I'll walk in. I'll say, "Here's a Tom Lang special, bitch." Bam.
It's pure gambling. Pure gambling.
Good work out of you. Good work, Ben and director. Thanks to all of you guys. We'll be back on Tuesday with Seminole Headlines, Wednesday with the JCS. Have a great weekend. Go Noles. Be good, everybody. Peace.
April will be good to you.